This is Python's Paradise. This is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena, straight out of Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada, but rocking a beautiful Toronto City background behind me because I plan to make at least a couple trips this either late summer or fall, definitely fall, in Toronto for some conventions. But here we are on April the 19th, 2025. And it's funny, this is Easter weekend, and the guest I had on am having on today, I had on Easter weekend here. Strangely enough, this wasn't planned this way, but he was on Easter weekend last time, but at the very tail end of March. So it's interesting how Easter bounces back between March and April every year, but uh, nonetheless, my guest I had on to talk about film and film history and his love for film and what he showcases and teaches to people that join him. And I had the pleasure of meeting him at Chiller, which was my first trip to the US. Folks, I give you a new podcaster and a film historian, Mr. Andrew Gilmore. How do you do, Andrew?
I'm good, Greg. It's good to see you again.
Yeah, I love the hat. Now, you had the hat
Oh,
on
thank you.
last time as well.
Yeah.
Now, is that part of your image?
Yeah, I wear the hat every day. I've been wearing it since I was, or well, not this one, but I've had similar hats ever since I was 12, so it's just a thing with me.
You know what? I think it's cool that people have that. I wear beanies a lot, but I wear these as well, but I wear beanies when I'm out and about, and I got a lot of them from my guests and whatnot.
Yeah.
So yeah, so no, I think the hat actually looks pretty cool. So there you go.
Yeah, a lot of people compliment me on it, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, you had it on when we met.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to meet at Chiller
Hmm.
last year. So I was there with Lisa Langlois and I was actually up in my room. I was sharing a room with Charles Rosenay, who wrote the book of Top 10 Horror. Uh, he's actually going to be at Chiller this month. So I shared a room with him because he's been a guest on the show a few times, and he was there helping Tara Buckman of Silent Night, Deadly Night, and Cannonball Run and movies like that. Helped her get set up, and she's been on the show. So he had asked me, why don't we split a room? And that to me was a great idea. So we split a room, and I went down and I assisted Lisa when I could, and yeah, so I had a great time at Chiller. Do you go every year?
No, I only go when they have people I'm interested in seeing, but I will be going this time. It's next weekend coming up, so I'll be there this time.
Oh, you know what? Here's my thing, and this is something I have got to get control of. I have a friend. He goes by the YouTube name Creepy Ghoul, and he's a friend of mine out of Toronto, and he's got a great YouTube channel. And he said his one weakness when he goes to cons is posters. He said he always says he's not going to get any more posters, and he ends up coming away with two or three. He said it's his weakness, it's his kryptonite. And for me, it's autographs. I like going and meeting these folks that I see
Yeah.
on TV, and it's such a surreal thing. Like I grew up with watching Lisa Langlois in Class of 1984, so the fact that she's a friend of mine now and she introduced me to all this is very surreal. But
Yeah.
um, so I consider it a blessing. So when I go to these, it gets really difficult a lot of times to simmer it down. I think my visa bill was like over $3,000 by the time I got done at Chiller. And I got
Yeah.
that down to nothing because I worked two jobs, two cleaning jobs, but I got that down. But I was like, oh, you got to stop doing that, because I must have met like I think it was 21 people. And I was
Wow.
like, you gotta stop. Because the US dollar's bigger than our Canadian, you know? So
Right.
I was spending even more. So that's my kryptonite when I go. And I'll tell you, the one you're going to next weekend, I'm glad I'm not going because I would probably end up spending $5,000 or $6,000. There's so many people at that event that I would go meet, and I was like,
Yeah.
I want to go, but at the same token, I'm like, I'm screwed if I do.
Yeah. Generally, most conventions there are only two or three people that I want to meet, so I'm able to narrow it down.
I have a hard time narrowing down, and I'm telling you that they got about 75 people at this one, and that you're going to, and I'm telling you, for me to simmer that down is impossible for me. Um, uh, there's a few people there I've interviewed. Iris Klein is going to be there, part of the Lizzies from the Warriors. I've had her on the show, and sure there's others as well. Um, I was glad I met David Harris from the Warriors there because he passed away
Mm,
last year.
yeah.
I had him on the show twice, and I had no idea that he was battling cancer when I met him.
Oh gosh.
He was great to meet him. It's a big loss for the Warriors, but I was glad to have met him at Chiller last year and be able to have him on the show. But I have met a few people through the show. Ina Karakuba, Kino, excuse me, from the Dawn of the Dead remake. I didn't know she was from Toronto, and so I got nicely acquainted with her while I was there as well. So, and since I've had Eric Freeman from Silent Night, Deadly Night 2's come on here, and I've had a few people from Chiller come on and
Yeah.
talk to me. But special shout out to Eddie Mika from Chiller, who's one of the promoters, because he did something he didn't have to do with me. He because when Lisa phoned me and told me she's going to be part of Chiller uh, last April, uh, I went on the Facebook page to promote her, and Eddie sent me a private message and said since I'm friends with her that he'd give me passes for all 3 days, and I was very grateful for that because he didn't have to do that.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
And yeah, he was really cool, and I was very happy to go. And I met him. We both share a love for cats.
Mm,
So shout out to Eddie Mika. Thank you so much. You didn't have to, but fantastic. But we have a lot of people that you could meet. Okay, at this chiller, let's talk about that. Me, it's, it's like a kid in a toy store. It's like you want to play with all the toys, you want to take them all home,
yeah.
or in this case, I want to meet all the celebs. Who are you going to meet? Who do you get your sights on?
Well, it's interesting. I brought my pictures from the last chiller with me, so I have this. I met Deborah Van Valkenburg when the Warriors cast was there, and I know her from Too Close for Comfort, which obviously is where this picture is from.
Yep, Ted
And
Knight.
yeah, and she and Lydia Cornell are both going to be there, so now I can talk to Deborah again and then get Lydia to sign the other side of the picture there, so that's cool. And I'm not sure about Jim J. Bullock. I'm not sure if he'll be in my budget or not, but he'll be there. And I guess John Ratzenberger from Cheers is going to be there, and I was a big Cheers fan growing up, so I'm sure he'll be interesting to meet. And I guess that's about it for me. I'm thinking of maybe talking to Ted Boas because he's a friend of a guest that I'm hoping to have on my show, so I might make some connection there.
Yeah, looking at this, I'm actually going to bring the web page up here because I have to. I'm going to splurge a little bit and be so envious that you're going to go to this, but like I said, you've got a lot more willpower than me. I'll tell you that. Linda Blair, I'd be
Right.
very open to meet.
Yeah.
Uh, I've never met Linda Blair, but I've had a couple of guests on from The Exorcist, including Eileen Dietz, who was the Pazuzu demon.
Right.
Actually, I'll show you this. Let's see, where is it? Because I've got. She gave this to me at Frightmare in the Falls. Because this is her face in The Exorcist. Oops. Jeepers, if I get to show up here.
Yeah, I can't see it too well, but
Yeah, I know it keeps
it's flickering there, but I get the idea.
flickering.
Yeah, now I can see.
There you go.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's her face that flashes in The Exorcist.
Right.
That demonic face. Yeah, she's a sweetheart, Eileen Dietz. If you ever get the chance to meet her, So, um, I'd be open to meeting Linda Blair. And I just added her, and I'm like, my wallet's is like, Greg, I'm so glad you're not going. I can't tolerate the pain. Gina Gershon would be somebody I'd be interested in. Michael Madsen, certainly. Well, you got George Lynch from Dawkins, Patricia Peters. Now you got a couple people from Pitch Perfect gonna be there. I love Pitch Perfect, and I definitely have both of them on my list to meet. They got Alexis Snap and Hannah Mae Lee. I go meet them. I loved Pitch Perfect. It was one of those movies I saw in the theater, and I had no expectations on it, and I just loved it. Now, the third one sucked, mind you. The second one was kind of, but I like that first one. And you got a lot of the people from MASH there, and you got some more of the Warrior, James Remar coming back, Frank Whaley, Peter Reichert from Animal House. I like it too, how open Chiller is. I mean, you got David Joyner, who was the his first convention appearance. He was the original actor who played Barney.
Right.
And I love how open Chiller is, that it's not just horror films. The
Right.
fact
They
that
have
you could
everything.
have, yeah, they could have somebody who played Barney, the first Barney. And I guarantee you there's going to be people that line up to meet him. I remember my nephew had a Barney, stuffed Barney doll back in the day. And so I think it's cool that he's going to be there. Kim Richards, you got What's Happening reunion. John Ratzenberger. I didn't even know he was in Empire Strikes Back. He's in a lot of the Pixar movies as well. And
Right.
of course, you mentioned Cheers, Too Close for Comfort. Yeah, I did not meet Deborah Van Valkenburg when I was there. I ran out of cash. I had to meet a couple of the Warriors for sure who were on my show. Um, so I did not. I ran out of cash, so I could not. I did not get to meet her. But yeah, Too Close for Comfort. And of course, I remember Ted Knight from Caddyshack was part of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, you got Lizzie's reunion from the Warriors. Of course, Iris. I've had on the show. Gee, Eric Roberts. We're both in It Wants Blood together. He's watching me on a television. Of course, his wife Eliza in Animal House. Michael Biehn. Oh my goodness. Stuttering John from the Howard Stern show. Like you could see my wallet is just aching, just the thought. You got some of the Home Alone people that's going to be there. Donovan Scott, of course, from Police Academy. Ellen Latter, who was the only female to play Jason in Friday the 13th Part 2. It's her pant legs you see walk across the street in that uh, opening shot. So that's interesting. The director of My Bloody Valentine, Suki Goodwin, is her first U.S. convention from Hell Night, Deborah S. Hayes, Friday the 13th, Danny Lloyd from The Shining, that would be a good one. Oh my goodness. I envy you. You get to do this, but you've got a lot more willpower than me. A big
Well,
Day of the Dead reunion. Oh my goodness. My first one I'd go see would be Donna Pascal from Saturday Night Fever.
uh-huh.
She'd be my first go-to because that's one of my all-time favorite movies. More Home Alone people there. Like you've got so many. Of course, my friend Charles Rosenay is going to be have a booth there. You know, wow, that is a pretty impressive. And I only listed ones I was interested in. I just kind of glossed over because there's so many others, and I'm like, you mentioned a couple people, but I gotta
Yeah.
tell you, if I was there, I'd be like, oh, I need to win the lottery.
Yeah, as I said, I try to narrow it down.
It's a hard one to do. Like right now, I'm um fanning out Fan Expo in Toronto at the end of August. I'm thinking about I wasn't going to do Frightmare in the Falls again, but I'm gonna wait and see what they have to offer, but I don't know where I live in Fredericton, New Brunswick. We don't get stuff like this, so it means I gotta fly in and stuff like that. But
Yeah, I don't think there are any conventions around. Well, there is a convention in Philadelphia, but it's not really. It's kind of a different category. But the ones I go to are all in New Jersey. I've been to New Jersey a lot in the last couple of years just because that's where all the conventions are.
mhm, yeah. But I enjoy going. I had a few hiccups, like it cost me about $84 to taxi from Newark Airport to the convention center, but that's stuff I don't know about. So, but one of the people assisting Lisa put an Uber app on my phone, so it cost me a lot less to get back. So, but
Well, that's good.
yeah, so it was something, I'll tell you that. But I enjoyed the time I went there. I spent too much money, but you know what? The memories are nice. I got that all paid off now, so it's not like I'm heavily in debt,
Yeah, that's
but
good.
it's like, you know, you got more willpower than me, but yeah. But I hope maybe to meet Valkenburg at one of these, I just ran out of the cash for it, but
Yeah, I only got to have a brief conversation with her, but she was very gracious and nice.
yeah, yeah. Well, Lydia Cornell, you're gonna go meet her. She looks like she still looks good.
Yeah.
She, yep. And of course, I remember Ted Knight, of course. I know him best from Caddyshack, but I
Hmm.
mean, he did well with sitcoms like The
Right, the
Mary
Mary
Tyler
Tyler
Moore
Moore Show,
Show
yeah.
and Too Close for Comfort. So, yeah.
And he was a dramatic actor before that.
Did you know he appears in Psycho?
No. Oh, well, maybe I did. I'm not sure, actually.
When he at the end of the film where they go to bring him his blanket,
Yeah.
the jailer at the door that opens the door to let the guy go in. Ted Knight.
Oh, I'll have to look
Yeah,
at it again.
I didn't know that, but I found out. Maybe that was a little pre-Caddyshack, and maybe it's where his anger came from dealing with Norman.
Yeah, I guess that explains it all now. That's the backstory.
Yeah, Ted Knight always had really cool hair, I'll tell you that. So
Yeah.
yeah, he kept his hair nice. Um, but anyway, yeah, these are a lot of wonderful shows that we grew up with. So, uh, so yeah, I hope that you're able to get that signed, and so you have a other couple of signatures on that. Who did you meet at Chiller last year? I know you met Lisa.
Yeah, I wanted to show my picture.
I
There she
love
is.
Lisa.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm so glad you introduced me to her. She was so sweet.
Lisa is wonderful. She just did Cinema Wasteland, and I didn't get to that because A, I knew too late, and B, I was under the weather that week, and I still went to work.
Oh gosh.
I was sick all week. I still went to work. Oh my goodness, you know. But I popped in every once in a while to say, Lisa, I hope you're enjoying your weekend because I'm not enjoying mine.
Oh gosh.
Oh well, you know. But Lisa was wonderful, and she's a sweetheart. I'm glad you got to meet her. She's always really gracious to her fans, and of course,
Yes.
she called me to come down, let me know somebody wanted to meet me, and of course, it was you. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was really cool to get to see you in person and interact with you.
Yeah. I'm sorry it was just such a brief conversation,
Oh,
but
don't
here we
worry
are.
about it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
here we
was
are now.
upstairs and I was resting, and and
Yeah, I was trying to call you, but Lisa's phone wasn't working, and there was all this stuff going on, so it worked out eventually.
yeah, well, I'm glad it worked out. I'm glad. Yeah. Who else did you meet last year?
There were only two other people aside from the ones that I mentioned. I met Rosanna Arquette
Oh,
at the
yeah, you
station.
met Rosanna, so did I.
Yeah, and it was very noisy in her room, so I didn't, again, just kind of a brief conversation. I didn't get to say very much, but again, she was just very gracious and sweet, and I've been a fan of hers for a long time, so that was
Oh,
just
yeah,
really cool to get to see her.
yeah.
And hang on, I'm trying to rearrange these photos here. They're falling off my desk. And I met Lita Ford, and I have something cool to show you there because I'm a big fan of the Runaways.
Yep.
So now I have two signatures on my Runaways album. I
Oh,
got
nice.
my hand is covering it, I think, but I met Cherie Curry a couple years ago, and now I got Lita. So there you go.
Oh, you know what? Mine are right behind me. Just a minute. I'll show some of the signatures I have here. So I got the Lita Ford bag.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what her autographs were in. Then I'll haul these out. Because this was my chiller and pretty awesome. I met, you'll see why I have a problem. I meet a lot of, there are people on the chiller Facebook page who are like, was there anybody you didn't meet? I'm like, surprisingly, yes. But I met Sybil Shepherd.
oh, nice.
Yeah. My story about her, because I think it was her first convention. A lot of people were saying she was really reserved, and I kind of get that. She's t testing the waters with us. But I remember I asked her because I grew up, I used to love old slapstick comedy. So I asked her how many times in her career had she taken a pie in the face, and she says just once, just in um, moonlighting. And I said, didn't you have a sitcom where you were holding yourself up by your hair and you just let go and you let your face drop into the spine? She stuck her finger, and I like somebody was taking pictures, multiple pictures, and I got a picture of her with her finger stuck up with a grin on her face. She said, "You're right," and she started talking to me about that, you know. And I had a really good interaction with Sybil, you know.
That's yeah, that's
So
cool.
yeah, so she was awesome. This guy I've had on my show twice, John Capello's from the
Hmm.
Breakfast Club.
Yeah,
And me being a cleaner, he was always my favorite part of the film.
right.
And I had him on again after the show. And of course, like yourself, Rosanna Arquette.
Hmm.
This is from After Hours,
Yeah,
one of my favorite Martin Scorsese's films.
Yeah, that was the first movie I saw her in. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, she's beautiful. She's still
Yes.
beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah. And I met I met Stefan Armgren for the first time
Hmm.
from class of 1984. He's been on my show a lot. And I've got Lisa's signature on this as well, part of that gang. And of course, there's Lisa there, one of the punkers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love this movie. This was the movie that introduced me to Lisa. And I
Right.
got her and Stefan both on that. Now, Tara Buckman was so gracious to meet me because I had met her through Charles and I had her on the show. Now, I've had her and Barbeau both on the show.
Yeah, that's a
This
nice
is them
picture.
from the Cannonball Run.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here she is in Silent Night, Deadly Night being killed by a killer Santa.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was a sweetheart, and she signed this one with Burt Reynolds from Hooper. I still have not seen Hooper. I don't know
No,
why,
me
because I
neither.
like Burt Reynolds, but and I met Joel Grey I've had on the show, and he was a child actor in The Day the Earth Stood Still.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was that chiller. So I had him on, and excuse me, with him. And I just recently had Cindy Weintraub on the show, and she was seated right by Lisa. And I guess they both did Cinema Wasteland together as well. I love this woman, Cindy Weintraub from The Prowler. There
Yeah.
she's being killed in a swimming pool. She is an absolute sweetheart to meet. I hope to meet her again. And of course, you mentioned, of course, Lita Ford. Got that signed.
Yeah.
Lita Ford. Oops. Yeah, my background doesn't seem to want to agree with
Yeah,
me.
now I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. My apartment's too much of a mess. That's why.
Yeah,
Now,
I hear you.
day 2, that was Friday. Saturday, I don't have a picture of this guy, but I got a picture with him. I met William Shatner.
Yeah, I saw the picture.
Yeah.
Yep.
I got my younger brother a signed picture of William Shatner because he watches Skittles while I do these trips. And I always try to get him an autograph. So I got him William Shatner, and I figured I'll get the picture with William. So I met him, and I met this guy from Silent Night, Deadly Night 2,
Yeah.
Eric Freeman.
Yep.
I had him on the show last December.
Well, I guess it had to be December.
Well, you know what? It was great to have him on. He gave me the contact info for the Killer Santa from the first film. Haven't heard back, but he did say he'd do my show. And this is from Silent Night, Deadly Night 1.
Uh-huh.
So, so I met them. Now, somebody I wasn't going to meet until she took the picture of me with Tara Buckman, and she was so classy. Like the colors she had on, the way her hair was done. And meeting her was such a thrill because she would put her arms right around your neck for the photo, and that is Bai Ling
Hmm.
from The Crow.
Yeah, I've heard nice things about her.
Oh, she was awesome. I'm so glad I stopped by to meet her, you know. And of course, rest in peace, David Harris. Had him on the show a couple times. He signed this for me from the Warriors. Another person that was a lot of fun to meet and she just amps things up to 11, is Charo.
Oh gosh.
Oh, yeah. If you get a chance to meet Charo, do it. Yeah, she is awesome to meet, and she is super friendly.
I'm
She
sure
is
she
so
is.
super friendly. And I've stayed connected with this woman. She is gorgeous. Ina Kuna. I'm going to screw up her last name. She was the pregnant zombie woman from the 2004 Dawn of the Dead remake. She's beautiful.
Yeah, she
And
is.
yeah. And I didn't know she is Toronto based.
Hmm.
Yeah. So when I go to Toronto next, I'm going to see if I can meet up with her because we stayed in touch, and I'm planning to have her on the show again too. And of course, I've had this guy on the show 3 times. Apache Ramos made me an honorary orphan in the Warriors. He doesn't have the afro anymore, though. It's a
I would
fake
think
one
not.
there.
Times have changed.
Yeah, well, I reached out to him when David Harris passed away. Yeah. And of course, anytime Lisa's got photos I haven't seen, I've got so many autographs of Lisa Langlois, and I love the class of 1984 ones,
Yeah.
where she played Patsy. So I got to reach out to Lisa here on Easter weekend. And then Sunday, that was my Saturday. Sunday, I met William Catt,
Hmm.
who was super nice.
Yeah, I'm
He
sure he is.
reminded me, huh?
I said I'm sure he is.
He reminded me of John Rhys Davies from Raiders of the Lost Ark because he would ask you a lot of questions about yourself
Yeah.
and really engage with you. And
Yeah, I've met people like that.
yeah, so William Catt. And of course, I grew up with the Brady Bunch. So Susan Olsen, I had to go meet from the Brady
Uh-huh.
Bunch. She's blending in with my Toronto background there.
Yeah. But I can
Yeah,
still see her.
yeah. And I met Rob Ryder, who I haven't had on yet from one of the baseball furies from the Warriors.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I met this guy actually had a thing where because I was running out of money. Ryder was going to come on my show, and I think he's still going to come on, but I had to go meet him so I could introduce myself. This guy actually had a thing for credit cards, so I was able to
Mm.
get this guy's signature.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the last one I met, and this is the second time I met her, and she's stunning, was Christy Swanson.
Hmm.
Yeah. I met her at Frightmare in the Falls, and I decided to go meet her again.
Sure.
Yeah. So that was my chiller. And as you
Excellent.
can see, I have a big, big issue with willpower when it comes to
Yeah,
autographs.
I can see that. But it's a nice selection of pictures.
Yeah, well, when I did when I did Frightmare in the Falls last year, I wanted to keep it down to 10, 12 at the most. I ended up seeing 15, but you know what? I still did go overboard on it. So it still wasn't bad. So
Yeah.
yeah, but I had fun. I had a lot of fun. So yeah, I envy the fact that you're going to be attending that. So
Hmm.
yeah, it should be fun for you. So you're just
Yeah.
going to meet the two?
I think four, because Deborah Van Valkenburg, Lydia Cornell, John Ratzenberger, and I guess Ted Boas as well. So that's four.
Yeah, you're not going to go crazy like me?
No, I don't have the money. And I'm already crazy to begin with, so that's the other
Yeah.
thing.
Well, let's talk about your podcast because I know you were hinting about that the last time that we spoke, and I've seen your updates and whatnot on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I remember the first year I podcasted, I had 20 guests, and I think the most guests I've had in a year. I think it was a couple of years ago. I had 170, I think,
Wow.
and yeah, I had to kind of slow it down this year. You're my 20th this year so far. And the reason why is because I'm working two cleaning jobs
Yeah.
and I'm either working or sleeping. So uh, I haven't done as many, but I'm still active doing my show. So, and so, you know what? I'm going to have you back to talk about because I know you were talking about doing a podcast last time we chatted, and now you
Yeah.
are actually doing your podcast. So talk about that.
Yeah. Well, it took a while for me to figure out what I wanted to do, and I started. I guess I was really thinking about it over the holiday season, and then well. I wanted to start interviewing people during the holidays, but I figured everybody's busy then, and you're not going to be able to book people. So I waited until January and started doing interviews in January, and I've only done 10 so far, but I think they've all been pretty satisfying. I've got had some interesting people on. I haven't really had anyone that's famous that you would know, but they're all, people who are accomplished and have interesting stories to tell. And I think it's going pretty well so far with the first 10. So right
You
now I'm
want me
trying to
to tell
figure
you
out.
something?
Oh, go ahead.
Um, Give it time, and you're gonna get more bigger names.
Yeah,
You
actually,
know,
just last night I reached out to somebody who's well known, and I'm not going to jinx myself by saying who it is, but I'm waiting to hear back from them, and hopefully, I already kind of have a friendship with this person, so hopefully they'll be on, but I don't know yet.
I might be able to connect you to with a few people.
I hope so. I'd
Yeah,
appreciate that.
yeah. You know, I might be able to do that. I'm always open to helping people get guests if I'm able to do it. So, but uh, yeah, and here's another thing too. You said you've had 10 guests so far, accomplished people. Here's another thing too. I have pretty much anybody come on as long as
Yeah,
I guess. My attitude is I'm nobody. And I don't say that to defame myself. I'm saying I'm basically a cleaner. I do janitorial work. That's what I do for money. It's not fancy, but it's what I do for a paycheck. And I know during the pandemic, authorities did not recognize us at all, even though I'd say we were just as much as if more so on the front lines than doctors and nurses.
yes,
But because we're deemed uneducated, we don't get the recognition. But I'll say this, um, it's one thing that's kept me humble about it, but it's also a reason why I don't generally turn guests down because I think everybody, whether the guest is a bigger name or a small name, they get a story. I had one of my former supervisors from one of my cleaning jobs come on here just because she asked.
yeah,
She just asked, and I said, sure. And we just went on here and just shot the shit about stories from the job.
sure,
And I don't care. Well, actually, it doesn't have bad views, but I wasn't doing it for views. I was doing it because you know what? When I'm on my deathbed eventually, I can look back on this and like, that was fun.
yeah,
So, and I've had people reach out to me, like the after mentioned Charles Roseney. He was turned down by a podcaster, and he had reached out to me, and I had him on. I've had him on 3 times, and had I turned him down, I would not have had the opportunity to split a room with him at Chiller or get connected with Tara Buckman because you
Right.
never know when when some of these people are like, you know what, you were good to me. Let's try this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my whole attitude about it.
Yeah.
I like your microphone though.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I got it from Amazon.
Yeah. A nice big microphone. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah. And do you do your podcasts on Zoom or just audio or
Uh,
what's the story?
they're through Zoom, so I do pretty much what we're doing now.
Okay.
So people come on and they're on. Sometimes I have to explain to people that it's on camera, it's not audio only. But it doesn't seem to make much difference in the content.
You want me to tell you? I'm going to tell you something. I got a guest coming on in May. I've had on a couple times before, and she just wants to do audio only, and I'm fine with that because a lot of times with me, I find, and I've heard this a few times, a lot of people, if they're traveling to work and back or whatever, they listen to it.
Right.
Yeah. So even if somebody just goes with audio only, stick with it because you still got the guest.
Yeah, well, so
Yeah.
far it hasn't been a problem.
Yeah. I've had a few that just wanted audio only, and I'm like, you know what? People want to hear the guest. If somebody happens to be sitting at the computer and can view it, great. You know, that both options are there. So yeah, I'll take it. Like my mention my work supervisor, she didn't want to be on camera, you know.
Hmm.
Still had a fun time with her on there. So that's kind of where I am there. So
Yeah,
I always have it. Yeah, I just thought I'd mention that, but I'm glad that's not an issue anyway. But if it ever comes up, it's just like, you know what? It doesn't stop you from doing the interview, you
yeah.
know.
If somebody said they wanted to do audio only, then I would do it.
Yep, yep. Nope, just have fun with it and
Yeah,
um sometimes, you know, when you if you put them up on YouTube, you know, you can always get a position where you can select a photo to put up there or
right.
yeah, so that always works, you know. So yeah.
Yeah,
So that's where I would go with that. But you've done 10 so far, so
yeah.
that is fantastic. What have you learned from doing the podcast? Like from since doing your first, like I can see a difference between 2015 when I started and now. What have you learned so far in doing this? Is there things that you corrected on yourself or improved upon, or something that, you know what, maybe I should try this, incorporate something?
Yeah. Well, I guess just learning how to use Zoom because I hadn't really used it much since the pandemic and just the technology of getting the recordings right. And actually, one of the early shows that I did, my microphone was not plugged in, and I didn't realize that until afterwards. So I've made sure not to do that again. And they're just technical things like that. So I think by 10 shows, I've got the technology of doing this right, and the sound quality is pretty good. And so I think it's working. I think I have it at a point now where I know what I'm doing.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That it took me a while too because I remember I used to do these at CHSR, the station I'm affiliated with, and
Right.
that took me a long time. And scheduling interviews around time zones was something
Yeah.
it took some doing to figure out as well. And I pretty much have got that down now. So I'm on my 10th. It's been 10 years I've been doing this. So
Wow.
um, Zoom was something different because, of course, the pandemic shut the station down. So Nancy McLaughlin from Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives, introduced me to Zoom. And then Carrie Yates, somebody that I was affiliated with through 13 Fanboy in the UK, she walked me through, and she ended up being my first Zoom interview. And she walked me through how to do this. So yeah, this is nice because I could do this right from my apartment.
Right.
And
I mean, I'm in my parents' basement, so there you go.
yeah, yeah. Now, behind you, are those records or books?
Yeah, those are records. Those are 78.
Oh, nice.
It's my personal collection. I've been collecting for almost 25 years now, so I'm a total geek about 78s and old music.
I have a few vinyls. My parents still have an 8-track machine, so
Wow.
yeah. But I've got some vinyls. I don't have a turntable, but I got some vinyls. I've got pretty much all the Cars albums on vinyl, and
Wow.
yeah, and I've got Alice Cooper's Welcome to My Nightmare on vinyl. I got Cyndi Lauper's She's So Unusual, Nina's 99 Luck Below. Um, oh gee, I've got a few vinyls in my. Oh yeah, I got a couple Pat Benatar vinyls. So
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned Cyndi Lauper. I'm seeing her on tour in a couple months. That's something I've always wanted to do, and I finally get to see her.
yeah, I had a big crush on her growing up.
Oh, she's a cutie. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when Girls Just Want to Have Fun came out, that video, and she had this fiery orange hair. And it's interesting because Rowdy Roddy Piper credits Cyndi Lauper with a lot of the success of WrestleMania.
Mm.
And when I stop step back and think about that, it was Cyndi Lauper's connection with Captain Lou Albano, who played her dad in the video.
Right.
Yeah. And of course, Piper just happened to be the right heel for it. And of course, there's a bunch of the wrestlers that were in the Goonies music video. So, yeah, I've always liked Cindy. Never seen her in concert. Um, I don't even know if she even does these conventions. I've had Tony Basil on here on Valentine's Day in 2020 before lockdown. And I know Tony Basil's done the Hollywood show. She's somebody I would love to meet. But
Yeah.
Cindy, that brings back a lot of memories. Do you have a favorite Cyndi Lauper song?
I think Money Changes Everything, probably just because I think it's such a great opening track on the album. Really starts it off with a bang.
It is a great song. I think my favorite is When You Were Mine.
Yeah.
I like
Well,
that.
I love the whole album, really.
It is a great album. Yeah. Girls Just Want to Have Fun time after time. She Bop is
Yeah.
interesting. Did you know She Bop is about masturbation?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that until,
It's been
well,
40 years, and apparently people are still finding it out.
I didn't find out recently. I found out probably a good 20 years ago or so.
Okay.
But I was like, wow, it makes sense because they were talking about the lyrics and stuff and this and that. Um, yeah. But wow, you're going to see her in concert. That should be
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. It's I missed seeing her a couple of times, and now it's unfortunately it's her farewell tour, so this is my last chance to see her, and the tickets were expensive, but I thought, it's my last shot. I got to go for it. So that's coming up in July, and I'm sure that'll be fun.
Is it really her farewell show? I mean, let's face it, how many times has the Rolling Stones and
Well, that's
all
true.
these other bands had, what, Kiss? How many of them have had farewell tours?
Well, you never know.
Some of them have farewell to the farewell to the farewell tour.
It's true.
Uh, s- I think a lot of it is a lot of people just love being on the stage and they end up missing it. But talk about some of the concerts that you've attended in the past.
Oh gosh. Oh, I saw Smokey Robinson about 10 years ago. That was great. He was always one of my favorites. Actually, when we first got a CD player, he was the first CD I ever bought. So I've been a fan of his ever since I was a little kid. Let's see, I've seen the Bangles 3 times. I saw the Go-Go's twice.
Oh, love those.
Oh yeah,
What were they like?
oh really fun. Except the second time I saw the Go-Go's, it was in a terrible theater. The sound was just incredibly loud and just painfully loud. And I'm sure you've been to venues like that where it's just terrible. But other than that, I don't want to denigrate the Go-Go's because I love them. But the first time I saw them was really fun, and then the Bangles too. I saw them, as I say, 3 times, and they just kept getting more fun every time I saw them. I wish I could see them again. They
Mhm.
were just really great.
Wow. I haven't seen a concert in a while. Um, some of the more notable ones I've seen Avril Lavigne a couple of times.
Okay.
Um, I've seen Hilary Duff and I met her backstage. I got a picture with her. She was really nice. I've seen Bryan Adams. I've seen Bruce Cockburn. Um, April Wine was probably the loudest concert I've ever attended.
Hmm.
I saw Ice Cube and Snoop Dogg do a concert together. I've seen Willie Nelson with Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. Um, oh, gee, Dr. Hook. I've seen him. Who else? Oh, Shanto Kraviazik. I've seen a couple times. Um, yeah, I've seen so many different concerts here, but I'd like to see more. I just haven't been aggressively seeking it because, especially in this city, we don't get a lot of them.
Yeah.
Usually Moncton, sometimes St. John gets them, but because they're bigger cities. But you
Yeah,
know,
I'm lucky to be in Philadelphia. I mean, it's an important city, so there are a lot of theaters here.
yeah, Philadelphia. That's where Grace Kelly was born.
Right?
That's one of my crushes from those days.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, yeah. You want to talk about any of the guests that you've had on the show? Anything
Uh,
notable?
sure. I mean, as I say, most of them are not well known, but I guess, well, the one horror person that I've had on who you probably know is Jason Paul Collum. I interviewed him recently, and you know his work, right?
Who is it?
Jason Paul Collum.
No, but if you bring up some of his,
Well, I guess the thing he's best known for is a documentary called Screaming in High Heels, which is about Linnea Quigley and Brinke Stevens and Michelle Bauer and all their work.
oh,
And he's done some fictional films too but I guess Screaming in High Heels is probably the most high profile thing that he's done.
okay,
Um,
okay.
so I just interviewed him about his friendship with those 3 ladies, and because we talked before about how I'm a big fan of theirs and I've met them, but he knows them probably more than anybody. So I was just asking him for stories about them and how he met them and how he came to make the documentary and all that. So he's probably the best known guy that I've had on, and a lot of the other people are just people that I know through Facebook. But there's a couple of musicians I've had on. I interviewed an actor from New York.
Mm-hmm.
A friend of mine here in Philly is a screenwriter. So pretty much anybody who is connected to anything creative, whether it's those kinds of things or people who study the history of film like we do, or and the show is called Mostly Movies, Maybe Music, so that's kind of self-explanatory.
I like that title.
Thank you. It took me a while to come up with it because I was trying to come up with something clever or something funny and something weird, whatever. So I was going through all these different titles, and then I thought, no, just mostly movies, maybe music. That sums it up. That's it. So,
Okay.
um, yeah. So just basically reaching out to my Facebook friends, and as you say, anybody that I think has an interesting story, as long as it's related to music or movies or something creative in that way. And I was going to mention actually that I interviewed somebody a couple of days ago who was Canadian, and he's my first Canadian guest. He's from Nova Scotia, and that's a guy
It's right
named Zach
next door to
Mitchell.
us.
Oh, really?
Yeah, about
Uh,
4 hours away.
yeah, it's funny actually. His name is Zach Mitchell, and right after I finished interviewing Zach, I got your text message inviting me to come on here. Right after I hung up with him, so then I texted him and say, "Hey, what's going on? Are you Canadians trying to take over all our podcasts?" So there seems to be a theme going there. I don't know. The timing worked out on that. I think he put you up to it. That's what I think.
I don't know Zach Mitchell, but I think that is cool. Yeah, Nova Scotia is like next door neighbors to us here in New Brunswick. So
Yeah.
yeah,
But Zach is interesting because he knows a lot about comedy, which is kind of the main area for me. Because he just has such a wide range of interest in anything that's comedic, whether it's TV or radio or books or movies, anything. And he was a good interview because he's just very passionate about all that stuff. And I
I
asked him if he's
wonder if
ever
he knows the Trailer Park Boys.
probably, yeah, I didn't ask him
Yeah,
about that, but
yeah.
yeah. So he just
Wow.
is somebody who, as I say, is very articulate and knowledgeable, and so I knew that meant he would be a good interview. So we just hung out for like an hour and a half and geeked out about comedy stuff.
Oh, that's
So
awesome. That's awesome. I think you're doing the right thing with what you're doing. You're looking for and you'll eventually get some bigger guests. But you know
I hope
what?
so.
I like what you're doing so far, like Screaming in High Heels, for example. I'd never heard of that, but I'm kind of like, that sounds interesting, you
Yeah,
know?
it's a very well done documentary. I would recommend it.
Yeah. I've never had Michelle Bauer on here. I don't know why I've never reached out. Maybe eventually I'll have to. Um, this year, like I said, I haven't had as many guests, but I've had quite a few newbies on here, so I haven't completely. It's not like I'm striking out, but um, but I haven't had Michelle Bauer on here yet. But
Well,
fingers crossed.
I have some connections to her, so I might be able to do that for you.
Yeah, I think I might have her on Facebook. I don't know. I don't keep much track on it, but
No, she doesn't. Well, there's a Facebook group that's dedicated to her, and she only uses Facebook to participate in the group, so she doesn't accept friend requests or anything like that
yeah,
outside of the group.
yeah. Well, hopefully you'll get her on yourself. So
Well, I'm trying to. Yeah,
you know what? Eventually, especially if they get familiar with you at the cons, and
yeah. Well, of
yeah,
course, I met her at a convention, and I have been in touch with her on Facebook, so we do kind of have a friendship going, and she knows who I
mhm.
am at this point, so that helps.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You'll get more. What'd you say? You've done 10 so far this year.
Yep.
You'll get more.
Yeah, I'm
You'll get
working on
more.
it. I've got a couple people in mind that I'm doing
Hmm.
research on right now.
Hmm.
And of course, I told you I tried to get Linnea Quigley on, but she's not available right now. But at least I was able to give her my business card, so I made some kind of contact.
I had Linnea on once. It
I
was
know,
actually
yeah,
on
I
my
heard of her.
birthday, and I've met her twice.
Me
And
too.
even I've had a hard time getting her to come back on because of her schedule.
Yeah,
Um, yep. But I look at it this way. If I don't get her on again, I at least I had her once.
yeah,
Yep. There are some people I have on multiple times because I got a really good connection. Like I've had a few people say, Greg, you're friends with Lisa. Why has she only been on twice? Well, it's because Lisa only wants to she wants to come on when she's got something to promote. It's different. And then I've got other guests I have on pretty much every year because, it's just chilling and shooting the shit. Like Nancy McLaughlin. I didn't have Nancy on last year because she was really busy, but she's been on almost every year, um, you know, uh, I've had a number of people on multiple times, and I don't have a set thing to talk to them about. I just have them on because I know we're just going to have a nice back and forth, and it's going to
sure.
be nice and comfortable and no stress, just kind of like what we're doing right now.
Yeah,
Although I definitely had an idea of what I was going to talk to you about, so you know,
yeah, I haven't really reached that point yet. I always do a lot of research and prepare a lot of questions because, I try to make sure, especially since I'm just starting out, I want to make sure that I know what I'm doing.
yep, yep. No, that's a smart move, but I think you're on the right track with it. So, and you also got an interesting variety. You
Yeah,
you get that the guy that made that documentary, Screaming in High Heels, but you mentioned you had a friend who's a screenwriter, you
yes.
know, and I like how you're looking at stuff like that. You think,
Yeah, that
bring
was
that person
intentional.
on, and you also never know down the line when that you're going to end up unexpectedly benefiting from that, like
Yeah,
I said with Charles Rosenay, like uh had I refused to have him on the show, you think he would share a room with me at Chiller? No. That just he just
yeah,
happened to reach out and says, Greg, I hear you're attending Chiller. Would you like to split a room? And off to the races. And it was right there at that building, so
yeah. It's interesting. I mean, most of the guests that I've had on so far are people that I already knew, but I did reach out to. There's a married couple in New York who are musicians, and they do covers of 1920 songs and that kind of thing, and they're really talented. And I'd seen their YouTube channel and really liked what they did, so I reached out to them on Facebook and interviewed them, and I haven't really spoken to them since then, but I hope eventually, I'll be able to go see them perform a show or something, and I'll have that connection to them because I interviewed them.
yeah, and that's one of the things I like about you is that your knowledge of film goes way back. Like you can
Yeah,
appreciate 1920s and this and that. It's hard to find film fans that are even familiar with any movies pre-Star Wars. It's
yeah,
um yeah.
you know, I don't want to interrupt you if you were going to say something there, but
No, go ahead.
oh, well, actually, right now, I mentioned the last time I was on here that I'm a teacher, and right now I'm teaching a course on silent films, and normally I have a regular group of students that take my classes every year, but some of the people that I have, they were complaining to me, oh, I don't like silent films, they're boring, wah, 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 and I felt like saying to them, have you ever even watched a silent film? Do you even know what they're about? Do you have any knowledge of what you're talking about? Because I don't think they do. And so unfortunately, I was only able to get 5 people this time, and that's a much smaller group than I normally have in my classes. But I guess it's okay because the 5 people that I have are interesting people, and I'm just starting that class. I just did the first session last week, and it went well, and we enjoyed it. But it's always satisfying to have more people, and I feel sorry for people that don't know what they're missing if they don't know the history of silent films and how fascinating that world is, and they're just going to be judgmental about it. Then
You know what
like you
I
said,
say to that? I would look at that person and say, you watch Sherlock Jr. with Buster Keaton,
yes,
and you tell me how he did that without computer generated help.
absolutely,
Exactly. Like I was amazed at not just the physical endurance he had doing the film, but some of the sight jokes were like, how did he do this?
yeah,
It was amazing. I
yeah,
really enjoyed Sherlock Jr. I've seen The General, but I think I like Sherlock Jr. even more
yeah,
than The General. And Charlie Chaplin has done a lot of really, like City Lights, I think is
yes,
brilliant.
wonderful, yeah,
Modern Times,
yeah,
The Gold Rush,
yes,
The Kid. And of course he did The Great Dictator. So he did
yeah,
venture into sound.
right,
And but it's funny, I wonder how many people who watch Austin Powers, which I enjoyed a lot, but wonder how many people they see Dr. Evil tossing that ball around. Do they not know where that comes from? Of
right,
course they don't. It's come from the Great Dictator, you know?
right,
Of course that's what Mike Myers was alluding to. I mean, that scene is still to this day being referenced, you know? Um, So I've never looked down on so I mean, look at Metropolis
yes,
or The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
yes,
Oh, that was brilliant. That movie was so good when we took my film class, history of film class. We got halfway through Dr. Caligari, and the class was over. And when the students come back, we ventured on to other things. But students were like, "Can we watch the rest of that? We kind of want to see how that ended." And I'm glad we got to see the rest of it because that was really brilliant.
Yeah.
and the way the images are. Anybody that looks at that calls it boring, I'm like, get a life.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, that doesn't help me get more students for my class, but I agree with you. I'm glad that we're on the same page here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just touched, the surface on that, but I don't tolerate having conversations with people that discriminate a movie because it's in black and white, you
Yes.
know, or discriminate a movie because it was made. Jeepers, I was born in 1972. I find it fascinating. I can watch movies that were made before I was born and get a glimpse of what that time period was like or how movies were made. Back
Yes.
then, like, no, I find it funny. Um, I love the Naked Gun movies. But
Yeah.
I remember in Naked Gun 33 and a third, you had that opening dream sequence, and a lot of people are saying, "Oh, it's making fun of the Untouchables." Yeah, and any mention of the battleship Potemkin in there, folks?
Hmm.
Huh? Where did the Untouchables get it? The battleship Potemkin.
Right.
Yeah. I love being able to have this conversation with you.
Well, it's a pleasure, Greg. I'm always happy to talk to you.
Yeah. But I hope that more people are open to this because, like I said, really boring. Really boring is not a word I used to describe Buster Keaton. I'll tell you that that
Oh, yeah.
guy was an absolute genius.
Yes.
Yeah, and Steven Spielberg would tell any of these students the same thing.
Yeah.
He would say it too. Um, this is where a lot of these people have come from. I think so many people are so obsessed with everything flashing. We got this TikTok generation, which
Right.
they can't pay attention for more than 5 minutes. And
Sorry, what did you say?
this TikTok generation that can't pay attention for more than 5 minutes.
Sorry, what did you say? I wasn't paying attention.
There you go. What's your favorite Buster Keaton movie?
I would agree with you, Sherlock Jr. I think that's just about the best.
I love that scene where I don't know, I don't remember how it happened, but he jumps out the window. There's these clothes and stuff on the ground. He jumps out the window, and suddenly when he gets up, he's in drag.
Right.
I don't know how he done all that stuff. He was just brilliant. Do you have a favorite Charlie Chaplin movie?
Just off the top of my head, I mean, you mentioned City Lights. I think that's probably also one of the best. And interestingly, that
You,
was the last. Oh, go ahead.
City Lights, what made that so brilliant was the fact that a lot of times words are on screen to translate either one scene to the next or dialogue. However, the words "I can see now"
Mm,
appearing on screen had so much more significance.
yes.
Yeah, that was so beautiful. I think City Lights is a great movie, and I'm so honored because I'm a big Emma Stone fan, and City Lights, I think, is her favorite movies.
Mm.
Yeah,
I was I was going to say that was the last movie I saw in a theater before the pandemic shut all the theaters down. So that was a good way to
yeah.
go out.
I couldn't wait to get back in the theater when,
Oh yeah.
I was back in the theater by July or August that year, and they had this, of course, distance seating, but I worked through the pandemic because I was a cleaner. I
Oh
never got the bug. And quite frankly, hindsight's 2020. All I
no pun
saw was
intended.
our true dope government getting rich off it, off the vaccine. So I'm kind of like, were we scammed? Because right now, I don't want to downtrot people that had it, but I'm definitely not in favor of what our government was the last 10 years. Not that I want to get into politics, but
No.
our leaders were assholes uh, during the last 10 years here. So
Yeah.
anyway, but no, I'm glad that you have a passion for silent movies, and I
Yeah.
always see your updates posting stuff that you're watching.
Sure. You reminded me, actually, one of my interviews was a woman who curates films for one of our local theaters up here. So it's a place called the Ambler Theater, which I've been going to for probably 20 years at least. And I got to talk to her and ask how they program the films there. So that was an interesting discussion.
You know what? That's a great discussion. I love that. And
Yeah, I
plus,
just,
you get to get a little insight on that too. I've never ever thought about doing that. I should do that some point
yeah,
because I mean, our theater here, a lot of people recognize me, and
yeah, that was
when I
interesting
go in,
because, oh, go ahead.
yeah. So I mean, you get to people get familiar with you. I love the theaters in Toronto. When I was in Toronto for Frightmare in the Falls last fall, um, I went to a lot of the movie theaters. I went and saw Nora at the Varsity, which was great. I went to the TIFF Lightbox and saw Rumors, and I went to Cineplex on Dundas and did not realize it was a 24 screen theater. I was like, wow. I'd never been to a 24 screen theater before. I went there because It Follows had its anniversary and I'd never seen that. So I thought, go see that. And I was like, it was in theater 14. And I was like, where's theater 14? Is it upstairs? Because like they had like 10 theaters down there. I was like, oh, up the escalator. It said 11 to 24. I was like, ooh, four, you know? And but they had a theater there on the Carlton, Imagine, and they had a lot of movies playing for $5. And I was there. My mom thought I was going to pitch a tent up there. I was there so much. Um, and they still have it. And they during October, because I was there in October, they were playing horror films all month. So I went there. I caught Clue for the first time.
Hmm.
I saw I saw John Carpenter's Halloween. Actually, I went to that twice because it's one of my favorites. I saw the Rocky Horror Picture Show, which I've seen screened before. I saw The Exorcist, which I've seen screened before. But I thought I'd go catch these in Toronto. Just enjoy, you know? $5. I was like, yeah, I'm in. I'm in.
Yeah,
And in Toronto, I saw my first IMAX. Um,
yeah.
this was before the pandemic. I saw Apocalypse Now on
Hmm.
IMAX, and
Oh,
that's
that
my
must have been
favorite war
impressive.
film.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, have you seen anything on IMAX?
No, just at regular theaters most of the time.
Well, that was the first time seeing something on IMAX, and I was like, yeah, I'll go see Apocalypse Now on IMAX. But in Toronto, you get a much better turnout than you do a small city like this. So all
Yeah.
those movies had a decent turnout. So and the theaters are so different. Um, yeah, I did a lot of filming, just going around and doing a little narration on my trip and this and that.
Uh,
So yeah, when you say you interviewed somebody working the theater, yeah, there's a lot of stories there.
yeah.
So what do you have coming up? I know you got Chiller coming up, which you're looking forward
Yeah.
to.
Well, I don't have any interviews booked right now, but I think I said earlier I'm doing research on a couple of people that I have in mind, and hopefully I'll be able to keep that going for a while. And yeah, so there's nothing definite there. And I'm trying to think if I have any other conventions coming up other than Chiller, but I don't think so right now. And I'm doing my class. I do 3 classes a year, so I've got the silent film thing coming up. And then in September, because in September will be Peter Sellers' 100th birthday, so I'm doing a course on his work.
What are you going to
Um,
play?
well, it's 10 weeks, so I've selected 10 of his best films. Doctor Strangelove and Being There, obviously, and then there's some in between. There's one called The World of Henry Orient, which I like, which is not shown that often. There's one called The Naked Truth, which is interesting. The Lady Killers, I don't know if you've seen that. That's
Yeah.
a great one, yeah. And there's a few things in addition to that that I'm blanking on right now, but
What about the party?
I'm not crazy about The Party. It has its moments, but
How
yeah,
about the
not.
Pink Panther movies?
I like. Well, I'm showing A Shot in the Dark.
Hmm.
I think that's my favorite of the series. I think the other ones, again, kind of have their moments, but they're too long, and I don't think they hold up as well as people think. That's my
Okay.
opinion.
Hmm.
But I like A Shot in the Dark. Um,
Hmm.
so
Wow.
so
Peter
yeah,
Sellers.
that's
Yeah. What?
September,
Hmm.
and well, this isn't work related. This is just for pleasure. But there's a film festival in New York that I go to every August. I think you saw some of my posts on that last year, and that's called Capital Fest, and they show all kinds of obscure 1920s movies and that kind of thing. So that's great for me because that's my world.
Hmm.
And you really get to see things there that you're not going to see anywhere else because they show movies that are just from the Library of Congress archives and things that have just been sitting in the vault for 90 or 100 years that nobody ever sees. And there are a lot of terrific films out there that deserve to be better seen, but they're just not out there. So that's why people go to Capitol Fest to see that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
So I'm there every year, and it's just me and 500 movie nerds hanging out, and we always have a ball there. So
Oh, I'm
it's
glad.
yeah.
I'm glad. Any other people you've met at conventions that you want to bring up of note?
Um, oh gosh, I remember the last time we spoke, I was talking about trying to meet Kelly Maroney because she's a friend of mine,
I've
and
had her on before. I'd
yeah,
like to get her on again. I've never met her, but I've got a couple autographs of hers, though.
yeah, I've been friends with her for a few years. She's a very nice person, as you know. And I'll see if I can get the picture on my phone here. I got to meet her and Catherine Mary Stewart together.
Had her on a couple times.
Yeah, I've done some social media stuff with her. I've written to her on Cameo and things like that. So but actually, when I met her in person, she didn't remember who I was. But I've had some social media interaction with her. Uh, so yeah, there we are. And yeah, so that was really cool because I really admire both of them very much. And
I could probably connect you with Catherine Mary Stewart.
oh, well, that would be great. I would love to have her on my show. I appreciate
Yep,
that.
yep, yep. I
So
could probably do that.
yeah, that would be terrific. Although I'd really have to make sure that I get good questions prepared and really know what I'm talking about for that one.
She's very easygoing,
I know, yeah,
very, very easygoing, and she likes to laugh.
yeah, I
So
know she has a
yeah,
good sense of humor.
yeah. I've had her on a couple times. So yeah, I had her once uh, back when I was at the station, and once I had her on Zoom so I could see her beautiful face. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I've seen the interviews you did with her, so I know.
yeah. So
So
that's great.
I guess that about covers everything that I have going on socially.
Look at this. Oh, look at this. This is Skittles. Skittles. You coming in to hijack this interview? Skittles says he's all about black and white with a little bit of pink on his nose.
Oh, good for him. How do you like that? I've
Skittles?
been doing radio for 30 years and I get upstaged by a cat.
Skittles, are you upset? You know what? I voted yesterday
Hmm.
and I put up a picture of me and Skittles and we're both voting early. And I don't know how many people put on there. We vote for Skittles. And I said, everybody would vote for Skittles. Yes, everybody vote for Skittles. Everybody loves Skittles. Do you have any pets?
I remember you asked me that last time, and
Oh, I didn't remember. Yeah.
the answer is still no because our
Oh.
house is very small, so I don't think there's any space here for an animal to run around.
Yeah, well, my apartment's small, but Dad left Skittles to me. Skittles, you go get your claw out of my shirt. Skittles? Yeah, there you go.
Hmm.
Skittles says, "You're exploiting me. You're exploiting me." And I'm like, Skittles, you're staying here for free and you're lazy. Now he's rubbing against my hand. He's forgotten all the embarrassment. But yeah, I might beg to make that connection for you. My I'd like to encourage you to keep your passion for silent movies alive. You know, it's amazing to meet somebody of your age group because you're a lot younger than me,
Hmm.
and that you have a passion for this because it's hard to find.
Yeah, there are some young people out there that are into older movies. I mean, we're a smaller group, but they're out there. A lot of them are on Facebook.
Hmm. Well, I think that's great because those are people that find the construction of older movies much more technical because, like I said, they didn't have the whole thing with computers and AI and all that stuff to assist them,
Yeah,
you know? So, like I said, anybody that says silent movies are boring, I could just imagine the kind of stuff that they call entertainment.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's a fair point.
yeah, yep. So there you go. Anyway, anything else you want to promote before we close off?
Well, I did have something cool I wanted to show you that since
Sure.
I brought my pictures and stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I was talking earlier about screaming in high heels and all the horror movies and the Scream Queen stuff. And you've seen Nightmare Sisters, right?
I haven't seen it, but I know what you're talking about.
Okay, that's actually the movie that got me started on horror movies. And just recently I bought, it was written by a guy named Ken Hall, who wrote a lot of horror comedies and things like that. And I bought, it's his personal copy of the script, and I'm getting some glare on that, but it's
Yeah, I
autographed
know I
by,
can see that.
yeah,
Yeah.
Brink and Linnea and Michelle and Dookie Fleiswater, who's also in it. They all signed it. So I got this just kind of by accident. I found that it was for sale online, and again, it was pricey, but that's a real collector's item, so I had to get it. So,
I've
uh,
got Friday the 13th parts one and three. I got part one from Adrienne King, the heroine, the script for that, and Tracy Savage from part three. I met at Fright Around the Falls, and I got the part three script from her. Eileen Dietz from The Exorcist. I got a signed copy of the script for The Exorcist, and I've also got a Tom Holland signed script for Fright Night, which I haven't
oh,
had him on here, but I knew he was selling these on his website, so I was like, I love Fright Night. So
yeah,
I've got a few screenplays like that, and
yeah, that's really cool. I only have two, so you're up on me.
well, I got them. I think I was in the right place at the right time. You know, Tracy Savage had a big crush on growing up. She's still gorgeous, and I spent a lot of money on her at Frightmare in the Falls, which I knew I would, and she threw in the script for free. So,
Wow,
you know,
good for you.
yeah. But so yeah, those are nice items to have. I haven't seen Nightmare Sisters, but I certainly am aware of um,
It's a lot of fun. I would
movie.
definitely recommend it.
Yeah, yeah. I've had Linnea on here though,
Hmm.
so yeah, Linnea's pretty busy, but I say but once a year or something like that, check in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I wrote to her manager, so I'm still trying.
yeah, yeah. So there's always people out there, and there's people that'll come on. So eventually, uh, your stakes will get higher, and you'll make it. Trust me, you'll make it. Don't give up.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
working on it. I'm doing as much as I can right now.
Well, you've done 10, and
Yeah.
so far, from what the subject matters you've gone with, I say are quite intriguing, you know? So, and I like the fact because it reminds me a lot of what I've done. Like by even having people I've worked with on my regular job come on. Like when I worked at the hospital, I had one of my coworkers from there come on here because I didn't know this, but she was on a side hustle where she was promoting a makeup brand.
Hmm.
And I had her come on here, and she was actually doing the makeup during the Zoom. So not only was she promoting it, but she was proving that it worked
Right.
because what she looks like as the interview starts and when she looks at the end of it, sharp contrast. And I was like, I'm glad again, that was somebody that I was making up beds with at the hospital, you know? And I just kind of heard that she had this side hustle, so I had her come on, and it turned out to be a great interview. And that's got a lot of views. That's another thing too. A lot of these what are deemed smaller interviews, you might be surprised how many views they end up getting.
Yeah, I was surprised that you said my interview got 400 views. I can't believe 400 people would give a damn who I am.
Um, a lot of it, I get a lot of people that, again, I don't know why somebody give a damn who I am, you know, but I do have people that check out everything that I put out.
Sure.
So I get those. So yeah, your interview's done well. So, and some people might say, yeah, 400 views is nothing. Yeah, but you know what? Um, I only got in the three digits of subscribers. I think I'll go over 600 subscribers, you know, like I don't play on that because if you start playing on the subscribers and getting the next big guest or something, it dehumbilizes you. And you want to I appreciate when I get the bigger guests on. It's always awesome. But at the same token, you know, if you forget the smaller guests, then you really start to decay where you come from.
Yeah.
And I try to avoid uh, getting into that, you know. So, and I've seen it happen, you know, like I'll give an example, is Howard Stern. I love Howard Stern. I still like Howard Stern, but a lot of people have said that he's changed a lot since he started to get mainstream guests.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like, you know, they feel he's forgotten some of the like there's a lot of guests he used to have on that he doesn't have on anymore that were there. And it's like, you know, don't forget those people. And again, I don't want to shit on Howard Stern, but it's the best example I could think of. He's a fantastic interviewer, 10 times better than I'll ever be. But it's like getting in with the big crowd. It might be fun, but it's lousy if you're forgetting people along the way.
Yeah.
And
I
I'm,
don't think it's something we'll have to worry about.
well, you know what? I've had people try to come on here and try to help me monetize my show, and I'm like, what they want to do is they say they can get me more viewers. I'm like, no, 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 you can't. You can get me bots. Bots aren't
Right.
real people.
Right.
Yeah. That's like, no, you can get me bots. And they say, yeah, but it can lead to monetizing your show. And I'm like, Here's the thing about that with me. I have some guests who don't care whether I monetize. I don't personally, but I've had a few that I'm close to who would prefer that I don't, and I understand that too. It's kind of like the same as getting somebody's autograph at a show and then going online and selling it. You're
Right.
kind of doing the person you get the autograph from a disservice, you know?
Yeah. I
And
would never do that.
yeah, I keep all my autographs, and people say, yeah, but you could be making money. Yeah, I could be, but I also got to remember I worked two jobs as a cleaner, which is a job that got shit on during the pandemic because they were going all after praising doctors and nurses. But I'm like, I still remember that one morning I got off work and I went to a coffee shop. And this was during the pandemic. And he was just opening up and he says, yeah, just give me a moment, you know. And I said, take your time. I just got off work. And he said, oh, what you do? And I told him what I do. And he says, wow. He says, you put up with a lot, especially during the pandemic. And he said to me, he says, this coffee's on the house.
Hmm.
And it felt so good to hear that. So being a cleaner's kind of kept me humble to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I appreciate what you're doing. I encourage you to keep doing it and keeping the silent films alive. I admire that about you, that you have this desire to look back in that. And, you're finding a lot of gems, probably a lot that I haven't seen, and probably a lot that I have. So,
Yeah. Oh, I appreciate it.
yeah. So, promote your podcast on here before we close off.
Yeah, the show is called Mostly Movies, Maybe Music, and you can find it on YouTube under my name, Andrew Gilmore. There's nothing fancy there or anything, it's just my name, so it should be easy to find. And as I say, there are 10 shows there that you can listen to, or watch rather, and hopefully I'll have the 11th one sometime in the next couple of weeks. So there you go.
Are you going to expand and put your stuff on like Spotify and Rumble and places like that too?
Not interested in doing that right now. I'm just going to keep it on YouTube.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Well, you know what, Andrew? Good luck with that. It's nice to have you on here today, and maybe we'll meet at another con. I don't know when I'll do my next American one. No plans at the moment, but a lot of that is because, well, I'm mostly working and sleeping, and you caught me at a good time.
Yeah, it's funny. I was hoping to go to a Canadian con coming up, but that's not going to work out, unfortunately. So we could have met halfway there.
Well, I'm planning right now to do Fan Expo, but I'm going to wait and see what the guest list. Right now, they get 10 guests announced, and I'm just going to see because I think there's going to be about 30 or 40 at that one, maybe more. So I'm going to see what that looks like. I've never attended Fan Expo before. Frightmare in the Falls, I'm thinking about maybe Horrorama, but I really I gotta look at my vacation time and look at budget and everything, you know. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But you're going to Chiller, and you
Yes.
got more willpower than me because I'll tell you, I probably if I met I how many did I meet there? I think I met over 30 at Chiller. No, it was over 20. Oh boy, I could just imagine what that would be if I went next week. I'm like, yeah, yeah, I have to resist. I have to resist.
They'll
You
have to
got
put
so
you in
many great
handcuffs.
guests that's gonna be there, but I hope you enjoy it and have a great time and post the pictures on Facebook so we can all
Sure.
see how you're doing with it.
Sure.
Yeah. Anyway, you have yourself a wonderful day. Have a nice Easter weekend and have yourself
Th-
an Easter bunny and some cream eggs.
sure. Yeah, thank you, Greg. It's really been fun to talk to you again. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Best of luck to you. God bless.